Have you ever sold a truck to buy a one-way ticket to fly to the other side of the world for an interview? No? Well, that's what my next guest did. You're listening to A Broken Compass, show about how people navigate their life when they feel lost or stuck, with all the good and bad and bittersweet that comes with it. But who is Jay Adams? Well, Jay is my barber, but he is not just that. He's also a former MMA fighter, an entrepreneur with barbershops in Norway, Australia, the UK, and the Czech Republic, and many other businesses. In addition, he also created 2 TV reality shows about barbering in London and Prague. But for most, Jay is a person with incredibly big heart. The thing is, Jay was bound to fail in life. He grew up in a rough neighborhood in the UK, and at the age of 13, he quit school and became a gangster. Today, you will hear how Jay fixed his compass and found a new way in life. If you enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to share it with somebody who you think might enjoy it. Thank you, and let's get to it. All right. Hello, Jay. Hello, and welcome on the Broken Compass podcast. I am very happy to have you here. Do you remember how we met?
Hello, Dan. Thank you, brother. Thanks for inviting me on today. How we met? I think it was in the barbershop, bro. Really, I think that was you walked into the barbershop, right?
Yes. And it wasn't just any barbershop to me because I found it basically on a Google. It was I found the name pretty funny because it's called Kings of Kings Barbershop. So every other barbershop is called Kings of something. And then I got there, and from the first moment, I knew that this is not just a regular barbershop, because I saw a lot of care from you about the customers, but about the people, but also the people in the shop care about the customers. And it's something magical that I haven't seen that many times in my life. And that's why I kept coming to your barbershop, actually, over the time. So, And also, you are not just a barber. As we know, you do many other things. But there was this one moment where when my girlfriend died, and after some time, I kind of felt like it's time to pull myself together a little bit. And when every time I go for something difficult, and I try to pull myself back, I kind of, clean myself, I shave myself, I put on normal clothes, and it kind of helps me get through this stage of something. And part of it is also sometimes getting a haircut. And so I went at one point to your barbershop. Just before I was scheduled to have the appointment, I got a call from Liz's friend, and it was very bad call. It didn't make me feel good. She was blaming me for a lot of things, and I kind of fell apart. But I ended up going for the haircut. I don't know why. I think it was just like, even you are really falling apart, you just like keep doing things sometimes, And I remember walking in, and you immediately noticed that I was not feeling well. You did something that I would never expect from anybody, working in a barbershop or any other kind of place you just go to. And you told me to, let's get out, let's get some fresh air. And then we sit down and we talk about Liz, about what happened. And wow, it was very, very beautiful, and I really needed it. And that really confirmed, when I say that I see the care in the shop, is this moment just confirmed it to me that is really the way you are. And I know, you also told me you will do it for other people, and I know it, and I've seen it from many different things. And that's why I'm so glad to have you on this podcast, because I'm so interested to get into the story of how did James became, through everything you went through your life, how did you become this person? Because to me, that's an inspiration.
Thank you, brother. Yeah, I mean, yeah, bro. Where do I start with that, man? For me, bro, that was, I don't even know where to start with that, bro. That's amazing that you felt that way, and I'm glad that I was able to be a support network to you at that time. And that for me is that was my duty and obligation, bro. Do you know what I mean? I saw as a man to man, I saw there was something not right with you when you walked in the shop. So, you know, I've been through a lot of experiences in my life, and, you know, I've been broken. I was, you know, I saw myself, bro. I know this sounds probably, I don't mean this in a selfish way, but when you walked in the shop that day, you know, I had no idea what had happened, but I could see that you was broken. And I knew that because I'd been in that same situation myself at some point in my life. And I thought, this guy needs to exit the building. He needs to get outside and get some fresh air. And, you know, he needs to let something out. I could see you was holding something in. And, you know, my job as a business owner, my job as a barber, you know, even just to cut, I don't just cut hair. You know, my job is to take care of my community. And, you know, every business I have, whether it's big or small, I don't run my businesses like a businesses I don't run my businesses like a company. I run them like a community, you know, like from top to bottom, you know, from end user to staff, to team, to managers, to even how I run my own self, my own schedule. You know, you know, I would never ask someone to do something in my own companies that I wouldn't do myself. You know, that's the kind of way I run business. So when I saw you coming into the barber shop, you know, whether that was me or anyone of my team, they would have done the same for you, because that's how we work. Do you know what I mean? Like, I just saw you there, you was broken, and I know that you needed to get something out, man. And I didn't know what it was, but when you told me, that completely shocked me, bro. But I just knew that I need to let this guy just unload.
Yeah. And I really needed it at the moment. I think if I haven't have done that, that would make my day, or maybe a few days, a lot more worse. So it was really important. Sometimes small moments are really important. Yeah. And I also like that you said that you run it as a community, because to me that these kind of like the old barber shops, I don't know why, because we never experienced it in Czech Republic, but I have this kind of feel that, you know, when it was like in the old school L days somewhere in States, it was a lot about community. It wasn't just a barbershop. And it's something that kind of disappeared. And now it's getting back, not just in barbershop, but in other areas. But it's not still something that I think is very, very common. So
no, I think you're right. I mean, today in business, unfortunately, we live in a, you know, the whole world at the moment, bro, is like, you know, let's say the word that I can use is entitled. So everybody today, every man, dog, cat, and his family feel like they're entitled to have everything without any hard work. So, you know, you get this selfishness, this feeling of everyone's out to, you know, it's fuck everybody else, and I just care about myself, and I'm doing what I'm doing just for me. And that's not how I was raised in business, and that's not how I was raised as a man. You know, I'm pretty old fashioned in every aspect in my life, as a partner, as a businessman, and, you know, even down to as a father. I'm very old fashioned as a dad, as a parent. So, you know, that carries over into my business, and, you know, and who I am, as I'm just true to myself, bro. That if you ask me who I am and what I'm about, that would be, you know, I'm true to myself, and I can't act, even though as a barber, you have to act sometimes, because sometimes, you know, a client talks too much shit, or you don't want to listen to them, and, you know, there's no connection, or the guy's rude on you and treats you like a servant. And that's not the right way to behave with people in my mind. You know, it's, there should be mutual respect, and 100%, bro. You need to take care of people around you, because you never know when you might need them.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. But I actually had two follow-up questions. One is, you are currently living in Prague, in Czech Republic, but you are originally from UK, and you said that there is this kind of a culture of being entitled and you know, fucking people over, and it's, I think it's something that in Czech Republic is very much, you know, after the communism ended, like there was a lot of wealth that kind of was changing hands. And there's still like this view that if you have made money in Czech Republic, you must have done it in some shady way. Is that similar into UK, or do you see a difference between those two?
Yeah, I think there is. I mean, for me, bro, like in Czech Republic, everybody is out for themselves in Czech Republic, in my opinion. Generally, stereotypically, we're talking. I'm not talking about every Czech person, but let's say stereotypically. But they operate at, let's say, 50% of selfishness. Let's say that. But everybody's doing it. Now, in the UK, probably 25% of people operate with selfishness, but the level of intensity grows dramatically. Like, someone in Czech Republic will snitch on you, and in comparison to the UK, someone in the UK will kill you for the same thing, if that makes sense. Like, the intensity level is different. So there's more people, in my mind and my experience and the people that I've dealt with, more on like a sneaky, selfish level here in Czech Republic. But in the UK, there is not as many people, but the people that are that way inclined, they are like 10 times worse than the Czech people that I've dealt with myself, you know? Like, they'll go that extra level to not just snitch on you, but, you know, they'll find you or attack your family or attack your business or make it their personal goal to take you down.
Yeah, I think we sometimes don't realize how lucky we are that, Czech Republic is a very safe country in comparison to a lot of places around the world, not just the UK.
100%.
So how did you get to building businesses like Community, and how was this guy with such a character built? Because that doesn't come just from nowhere. So where does the story start? What shaped you?
Sure, man. Well, bro, like, how long have we got on this podcast? It's a long time, man. Bro,
start where you want.
Yeah,
I have a lot of
okay. If I'm being totally transparent, I left school at a very young age, 13 years old. And, I grew up in a rough, poor, poverty area in the UK, and hung about with some bad people, had wrong influences in my life at a very young stage, and got involved in gangs and drugs and doing bad things. And I was one of them bad, selfish people before that used to do bad things to get myself in a higher position in many different aspects in the underworld, let's say. And just went through life this way. And then, I met my ex-wife, and, we had a son very young. When I was 17 years old, I had my first son. And I had to, think about at that moment in time, so this level that I was operating at was all before 17 years old. I was aggressive. I've been stabbed 3 times, shot at, had lots of trouble with the police, in and out of jail, lots of dark trouble, bro, lots of bad things.
Wow.
And for me, to be totally 100% honest, when I had my son, my oldest son, Charlie, he saved my life, man. Because, I never, to be honest, Dan, when I was younger, I didn't give a fuck about myself. I didn't care who I was, what I did, who I upset. I just was going through life as a very selfish individual, doing stupid things and hurting people. And when I had my son, whenever there's an action, you always have a reaction, right? So if you did something bad, you had to be prepared for someone to do something bad back to you. Now, when you are the main party concerned with that, and you are the only person responsible for the reaction, you don't care about the reaction. But when you bring a child or someone else who depends on you for everything, for food, for care, for love, for energy, for health, for future, for everything, for life, that makes you question, do you really want to be in that world anymore? You have to take responsibility. So having my son was a big wake-up call for me to realize, hey, listen, I can't be doing this no more, because if I continue on the path I'm on, people know that they can't affect me directly, but indirectly they could maybe attack my family or my children, and then that could lead down to I'm going off the rails then, bro. You know what I mean? Like, if something happens to my children, you're in a different world.
Wow. I knew about the past a little bit because I read about it, but I didn't know that you were that young because I even think about myself in my early 20s that I was pretty much a kid, and I really started growing up a little bit when I was close to my 30 or maybe in my 30s, to be really honest. So going through all that and having family on top of it, wow, that's a lot of things. So what did you do afterwards? So now you had the family, you knew you have to care about it. And by the way, where was this taking place? Because I thought you were born in UK. You were living in London at the time, or somewhere?
Sure, that's right. Yeah, so I was in London, and so then I realized, look, I was cutting hair anyway, so I was doing this. Let's say the dark side, the dark business. And then the light business was cutting hair, was barbering. So
wait. So you were making dark business. I suppose that there were good money in it. So why were you cutting hair? Like how did those two?
Well, the people around you, and when you're young, you have to have, I was making when I was 13 years old, I was making my stepfather used to be a carpenter, and I remember. When we was young, I grew up, bro. I grew up poor. Do you know what I mean? Like piss poor, running one bath and sharing it with three brothers poor. We had no hot water or nothing in the house. We was poor. So I remember when I was like 13, 14, 15 years old, I was making more money in the dark business than my stepfather, who was the man of the house.
Wow.
Doing what I was doing. So I couldn't show that, do you know what I mean? Because my stepfather was, and my grandfather and my family, I never shown them that side of me when I was younger. That was always, I was Jay at home, just a guy who's cutting hair, trying to make a bit of a Jack the Lad, do you know what I mean? Go out with his friends and stuff. And then there was the other side of me, the darker side that didn't want my family to know that because I had a little bit of respect for my family. I was brought up with respect. So I couldn't do nothing to show my family that I was doing the wrong thing.
Yeah.
But out on the street, I could do that. So the reason, to get back to your question, I had to do the barbering. One, because I enjoyed it. As a kid, I never felt a part of something. Now, probably this is where my community aspect runs from a business. So when I was younger, I didn't go on holiday with families. I didn't spend time with my parents. My mum was always sick. My stepfather was always out the house drinking. My brothers, we were all over the place, bro. It was just a normal UK council estate, poor family, right? So I never had that unity, that love. That's really important now. Even as a father now, I see that, bro, I got a 15, 16-year-old son now. I've got a 12-year-old son now. I got a 3-year-old son now. I've got 3 kids now. I'm 33 years old, and I'm such a good father now. Because I've learned along the process, one from my own, my own experience as a child in an unloving, uncaring family the wrong way. So I know what not to do. And second is, like I said, I had my first son at 17, 18 years old, and I tried my best, but it wasn't as good as how my 3-year-old son gets taught now. Now I've come along the journey. Learn about parenting skills, learn how to be a good dad, spending time, making memories, So I've learned along the process how to do that. But yeah, but going back to what we was talking about, the reason I was in the barbering was because, one, I really loved to feel a part of something. I felt appreciated. And I never felt that. When you're a drug dealer or you're a person who collects money or you're a person who's running stuff about for the wrong people, that you're only as good for them. You're only as much use to them while you're making money. Right. The minute you stop making money, it's game over, bro. You know what I mean? You're thrown out like a PlayStation 2. You're not PS5, you're PS2. You're thrown in the bin. No one knows about you. It's really like that, bro. You're an object. But in the barbershop, number one, I felt really respected and part of a team and a family. Got taken under the wing by my old boss and the people who taught me and showed me not love in like a lovey-dovey way, but love that, hey, listen, you're part of us and this is where you can be and I want you to progress and do well. And secondly, because of all the money I was making in the dark side, if I ever got caught from the police or something like this, I'd always have somewhere to say where I got the money from.
Mm-hmm. Was that, by the way, since you talk about your kind of barber mentor, and I saw that you also created this barber reality show, let's call it Barber Academy, is it called, right?
Yeah.
Are we talking about what's it called, Mike?
Mike, that's right. Yeah. There you go. Mike's a few years older than me. And Mike was the first person. He was like a big brother. He was like the first family member I ever felt like real family with. Mike, I still speak to Mike today, as you saw if you watched the barber movement on YouTube. Me and Mike, actually, from that moment on that TV show when we went to film, I hadn't seen Mike for about 15 years, not even spoke to him. But that's how you know you've got real friends and real blood, because you can not pick up the phone or speak to them for so long and then see them and it's like yesterday you was just together. So yeah, Mike was a big influence in my life. He taught me a lot, man. He's a good looking lad.
Yeah.
He taught me how to go in the gym. He got me in the gym, when I was younger, to take care of myself, to work hard, do good things, treat people with respect, be a good barber, get a good trade behind you, dress properly, get in the gym. And then, he used to, when I was like 15, 16, he was about 20, 21. So I was able to like go out with him and he'd get me in the clubs and go drinking. So I was always hanging about with older guys who were trying to do well for themselves, so he taught me that. So I feel in debt to him for my whole life, because he put me on a path that I needed to be on.
Did Mike knew about your other side hustles?
That can't be spoken about.
Okay. No worries. But that was all happening at the same time, right? If I call the timeline correctly.
Sure, that was happening at the same time.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that can be said. Yeah, that was happening at the same time. So, everything was cool. Mike knew what was going on. I knew what was going on. And let's say Mike was trying to steer me away from the dark side and do everything correctly and not so loud and in your face. And, he's trying to take me under his wing like a little brother, let's say.
That was kind of my impression that I got from the TV show.
Yeah, 100%.
Okay, so now you're in the middle of this, and you have a big brother, but you also mentioned your grandfather, and by the way, I used his quote before going to this interview, because I was like, you're not prepared for it, but you will try it anyway and do your best. So I think he said something like that, right? So what quality inspired your grandfather in you? Or why was he important to you?
Well, my granddad is a don, bruv. He's a gangster, bruv. He's a legend, man. Uh-huh. He's the realest man I've ever met in my life. Like, he taught me who I am today is because of him, bruv. Like, he is the governor, bruv. He's the man. He's the mint sauce, mate. He's proper. He's like proper man's man. Do you know what I mean? Like, he don't cut no bullshit. Like, he always used to tell me, if I asked him something, he would tell me, do you want me to tell you what you want to hear, or shall I tell you the truth? So if you was ever trying to brag around him, like, yeah, granddad, look at my new watch I've just got, or what do you think about this car, granddad, that I've just bought? He'd tell me, I remember one time I bought Audi A3, bro, and just from stupid money, trying to be flash, being young and stupid, bought it to his house, and he's like, I said, what do you think, granddad? He said, you're a fucking idiot, boy. What you doing? You don't need that. What do you need that brand new? What do you need to pay £15,000 for a car for? You're an idiot. Do you know what I mean? So he'll just tell you straight. I was going there like, what I was really looking for him to say, well done, son, you're doing well, da da da. But he weren't stupid. He knew what was going on. Do you know what I mean? Because he's also a smart man. So he's always tell you straight. That's the first thing about him. The second thing is him and my grandma. God rest my nan's soul. She passed away a few years ago now. But God bless her. But her and my granddad were very, very I idolized their relationship. They were very old fashioned. Like my nan is like an Irish gypsy. She's a traveling woman. And my granddad's like an old school East London, old school gentleman. Do you know what I mean? And together, it was like my granddad would go out and bring the money home, put the food on the table. And my grandma would be like, just taking care of the house, taking care of everybody, making sure the house was clean. But she was the boss, do you know what I mean? She was the boss in the relationship, always, as women are, man.
Really?
Yeah, bro, you know what? Just mad things, right? I remember going around my granddad. I'd be go around my nan's house for a cup of tea or something, and my nan always has to clean every day, bro. She's traveller women are all like that, right? So they got to clean all the time. And my grandma would literally kick me and my granddad. She'd be like, right, you two need to get out of the house because I need to do some cleaning. And then my granddad used to just say, right, come on, boy, we go down the shop. And bro, literally every single day without fail, he still does it now, even though, you know, I think it's his still little thing now that he has.
That's cute.
Like, because the grandma ain't there now. But so I think every day about 2, he goes out, gets a paper, gets a can of beer, and he just goes and parks the car on the side of the road, has a can of beer, reads his paper, and then he goes home. He used to wait for my nan to call him to come back. Do you know what I mean? She'd be like, Reg, you can come home now. I'm finished cleaning. Get back home. Dinner's on. So he still does that now. Do you know what I mean? So probably a lot of people with grief, when they miss somebody, you know, they still try and keep a routine in their life that it's a nice reminder of something that was once special to them, you know. Probably a ball ache for him at the time. There's times when he probably couldn't be bothered to go out. But, you know, I think I've lost a lot of people in my life. And, you know, I have these little rituals sometimes, just something small, how I think or how I act, or, you know, how someone used to be with me and that made me think about them. And yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, it's just nice little things, little comforting thing.
Yep. I have the same. I also think it's, you know what, you're like the things that I miss most, for example, about this are sometimes the things that kind of annoyed me, you know? And now I'm like, she like thrust me with her thumb. She was like always like touching me with her thumb, and I hated it, man. I hated it up till one day we're sitting on the couch watching some Netflix, and she was like, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, "What do you mean?" And I was doing exactly the same thing. That's how much shit stuck in my head, and I still sometimes caught myself doing it, these days. Yeah, so I think, and also, you know, it's that somebody's not in your life, I think, doesn't mean that you will forget everything, you know? Like you've been through certain things have been part of that relationship, and certain things were part of you and them, but there were some things that were common, you know, and that you want to, that I'm glad that I learned from Liz. Like, you know, she always had a present if we would go visit a friend and went for some birthday, something that I've never done. I'm horrible at these things. And I cannot say that I do it 100% now all the time, but I'm much better at it. And I often like remember, like, what would Liz do? Like, don't forget to take a flower, you know, or give them a call when they have a birthday. And I'm glad that she told me that. So, you know, I want to keep it. So there are things worth of keeping, for sure.
Yeah, man, that's nice, bro. Like, that's a nice ritual. And, you know, like, probably something we'll speak about later is there's always something positive that you can take from a negative situation. I really believe that in life, you know. I really believe that that's a true saying, you know, that one of the things I live by is that if something fucked up or bad happens, it is shit in the moment, but you always got to try and find something that can be comforting or positive that can come out of it, that you can continue.
Yeah, life is not just black or white, right? There is this really, in Brazil, they have this really nice word, which is called saudade. And saudade basically means missing somebody in kind of a way I think we think about it in Europe. You know, you miss the person or place that you experience, whatever they die or they're just not with you. It can be in many different circumstances. But at the same time, saudade also means kind of, I guess, the grateful feeling of having that experience.
Yeah, man.
Because you're going to be sad if you haven't experienced it.
Yes.
and I like it, and I see it here in Latin America is much more common. People in Europe, I feel like people are more like this. Okay, it's sad, and we don't like sad things, so we just back them and ship them away. Right? That's, by the way, when I said that it takes a person, I don't think that everybody is able to have certain conversations with you, especially about the sad things, especially in Czech Republic, because we're not taught to talk about emotions. So that's why I was also curious about how did you get to be able to talk about your feelings and stuff, because it's not something that a lot of people do, especially not if I see you, and you cannot see Jay, but we'll link his Instagram. You can check him out. He's this. He looks like a very rough dude. At best,
I am fucking rough, bro. What are you talking about? just rough looking.
Little so much.
No, do you know what it is, bro? It's like, that's the old school thing again. Do you know what I mean? That's probably where I'm not old school because, I try, like my mentality is old fashioned, but I believe that whoever you are, you know what the honest truth is, bro, is that I know that people view me, and even online, I'm perceived as, all the things that I do, I'm perceived as the big boss, this rich guy, this guy who's come from nothing. He's had the hard life. He's done bad things. He's made trouble. And people look at me and think, oh yeah, it's not possible for this guy to present himself in a way that's caring and loving. And as a father, people don't see me as a father. Do you know what I mean? They don't see me sitting and hugging my kids on the sofa, watching animated Mr. Bean on a Sunday on the afternoon. Do you know what I mean? They don't see all that. They see Jay, who's been stabbed. He's been to prison. He's big boss guy. And he's just this animal of a businessman who's running about everywhere. He's got no hassle. Nothing stresses him. But there is this side to me, bro. Like, and I think that when I realized that that's how people perceive me, I wanted to, as this big macho guy, I wanted people to understand that even though if people perceive you that way and they see me and go, look, this guy can be caring, this guy in this image can take care and he can look after other people and he does care and he has got a heart, then maybe people who are not perceived in the same way as me will feel more comfortable to, express themselves more, because I think it's a big stigma over the last 5 or 10 years that men can't express themselves. Men can't tell you how they feel. It's not important how a man feels. And to a certain degree, I do agree with that. Like, men should be men and they should deal with things and get things done and not be pussies and fucking cry about everything. But, I'm not into this entitlement. What happens today with all these influencers and all this shit that's going on with these kids. My son's the same, bro. He's luckily my son, he's in that generation where he thinks he's going to be a YouTuber and fucking make money like instantly. But he knows from me, bro, he's been in the barbershop since he was 6. So he comes in and he sweeps up. I get him to work hard. I have a rule with all of my kids, bro. So one thing that no one knows about me is I'm very strict as a parent. Like, I'm very hard on my kids, but I want to be hard on them so that they find life easy, because I cannot tell you how many kids I see, how many privileged kids, in the businesses and the networks that I'm in. And I see the kids and the parents' relationship is like the child or the teenager is in charge of the parent. And for me, that's okay. And you should love your kids and give them everything that they can ever want. But for my own children, they have to earn it, right? I've always think that anything can be given, but everything should be earned. That's one of my quotes. Anything can be given, but everything should be earned. So if you earn something, it's 10 times better than just to be given it. So these kids that I'm talking about with these privileged kids that, I've got some rich friends and I've got friends in the neighborhood that I live in. I live in quite a rich neighborhood in Czech Republic, and, I meet with other parents and they've got kids and we do play dates and we go jungle park and we go swimming and stuff. And I see these other kids, my rough council estate kids hang about with these privileged private school kids, right? They're friends. And I see how their parents behave with them. And that's fine now. They'll have a great childhood. They'll have everything they want. But what about when them parents are gone or something tragic happens to them parents, or That kid now has got to be in that big bad world, and he fucks up, and he's got no one to support him anymore. Mummy and daddy's money's not there now. You know, what do they do then? I guarantee you, my son, any of my children, even my 3-year-old son, we've just been to Thailand, and he works. I was this marketing agency. He was coming to meetings with me. You know, he was coming to sit with. Daddy's got to do business. You know, he knows. Not that I'm pushing it on him, but he has to understand. They have to understand. The kids have to understand that nothing is for free, right? Nothing is for free in this world.
Yeah. And I think I got it a little bit from my parents as well. Like, they were supporting me, but there were some moments. There's this funny moment that happened to me. I went to this a pub to play football with my friends. We used to play football a lot. I think it was somewhere in like high school or something. And it was this kind of a bit shady bar, because it had like a cage, so you had to go through a cage, and then they give you like a paper, and they wrote all the drinks on the paper. So we play football, you know, everything is fine, blah blah blah, and then it's time to get out, and you have to pay the paper, right? And we look at the table, and there are only 3 papers, and we have 4 of us. So my friends took the 3, and I was left without the paper. Go. And I got there, and I was like, and they were like, yeah, you need to pay. I don't know. I was like 2,000, 5,000 Czech crowns. It was a huge amount of money at that time. And I was like, yeah, I don't have it. So I called my dad, and he was like,
yeah, piss off.
And there were some other reason, like, of miscommunication probably behind it when we talk about it years later. But for me, it was like, I was there, I'm like, what the fuck do I do? And then I somehow convinced them to give them my phone, which was cheaper, and take my SIM card, and I never returned to that place. That was my solution. So I was like, I don't have 2,000.
But you solved it.
But that's
you solved it, bro. You was out.
Yeah, exactly. And I think those kind of moments, and I had many of like other moments, you know, I had moments when I didn't know how I'm going to pay my rent, and through that, like, that gives you kind of this confidence that you will deal with the stuff that will come. That's hard to not have if everything just always works, right?
Definitely 100%, bro, 100%. You know, I have a similar story. When I was 16 years old, I missed this bit out for you. This is a pretty good story about another thing between me and my granddad, right? So I'm 16 years old, and I go away for my birthday with one of my friends and 2 adults. We go to Tenerife in Playa de las Americas, you know, in Spain, the island, Right, we go there, we go clubbing, we go out. And on the 3rd night of the holiday, I decide, right, I'm staying here. So I went and got a job in the bar. And my friends, they all went home after, and they're like, you're crazy, what you doing? You're staying 16. I've been working in the bar. I'm there for about 6 months, and I've got my name. I'm a really good PR. A PR is someone who stands outside, them annoying bastards that stand outside and, hey, come in here for a drink, 2 for 1, but give you cocktails and shots and all this shit, right? I got really good, and I got a really good name along the strip, Veronica's Strip. I was working for a place called Jumping Jacks. Funny, nice bar. It was cool, right? And anyway, one of the other boss, he was from Morocco, and he was a pretty naughty guy. You know, he owned the bar, and he was like, he wanted to be the main guy on the strip, and he was like, you have to come for me. You have to come and sell drugs and sell cocaine to the tourist people, to the Englishmen that come here, the big groups. And I declined it, and I said, I'm not doing it. I don't want to work for you. I don't want to last thing I want to be is 16 years old, locked up in a Spanish prison, right? I don't speak Spanish. I didn't speak Spanish at the time. Didn't understand everything. Bro, the next day I came walking to work, and the boss just pulled up in the car and grabbed me by the throat and took me down an alley and told me, if you don't come and work for me by tomorrow, I'm gonna kill you. Like, it's game over. You're gonna have to leave Tenerife, or I'm gonna kill you. So I said, obviously I'm 16. I shit myself. There's a fully grown Moroccan gangster just grabbed me by the throat and dragged me down an alleyway. Totally, like, caught me off guard. Never would have expected it. I was just walking down the street, head up, and boom, the guys just grabbed me and just threatened me.
Wow.
So I completely shit myself, right? So the next day I thought, nah, fuck it, he ain't going to do anything. I'm only a kid. Do you know what I mean? I'm not that special, or he's a big time warlord, and I'm here just a small little guy who's little runt trying to make a bit of money in Tenerife. So that night I was going to the nightclub, and one of the guys who worked with me, he's a Moroccan guy. His name was Lemmy. He's a funny guy, spoke 7 languages, very intelligent guy. I've gone out with him. He's a good friend of mine then. And we went to the nightclub and we started to play pool. It was about 2:00 in the morning. And then I see 2 Moroccan guys, two skinny young Moroccan guys come in, and they come up and speak to Lemmy. And then Lemmy called me over and he said, "Listen, Jay, these 2 guys have just been told to come and stab you and finish you off." And I'm like, what, fucking hell? Do you know what I mean? Like, but I've stopped them. They're not going to do anything and say they didn't find you, but I suggest that you leave tomorrow because this guy's serious. So the next day, you know, I had no money at this point, but I was 16 years old and I was just, you know, you take your PR money and you're spending it on drink every night and a kebab at the end of the night. You know, you're living like a student, basically. So the next day I call my granddad up and I'm like, "Granddad, I'm in shit. This man wants me to come and work for him in his bar because I'm making it, the bar next to his too much money and stealing all the clients from him." Obviously, I didn't tell him I was selling drugs for the other guy as well. So, you know, can't left that bit out. I was like, "Look, I need £150 to get back home, to book a flight. I need to come tomorrow." Do you know what I mean? He was like, "Yeah, okay, I'll send you £200, get home and just pay me the money back when you got it." Right. So, moral of the story is now I took the £150 and booked the flight, but with the extra £50, I bought 40 cigarettes. So I bought 2 boxes of cigarettes for £50. When I came home the same day, the moment I landed, I went straight into the pub and sold all of the cigarettes, and then went and paid half the money back to my granddad the next day. And he was like, he always tells people that story, you know, like that he lent me money. And then, you know, I went and I used the remainder of it to go and buy some cigarettes, come immediately back home and went and paid my bill to my granddad. He loves that. He loves telling people that story.
Wow. Yeah, man, like you're an entrepreneur, man. Like
I had to, bro. Yeah. That's how young I started in business, bro, you know? Getting on the verge of getting stabbed by Moroccans, borrowed a flight, borrowed 200 quid from my granddad to get home, and then bought some cigarettes at the airport and went and sold them in the pub and paid my granddad back the next day, man. That's the truth.
Wow. Your granddad must have a lot of fun with you, man.
Bro, yeah, probably nearly killed him of heart attacks a few times, man, I'll tell you that.
But you have never I have never seen you talking about your parents. What's
I mean, to be honest, bro, that's a grey area. They when I say I lost people in my life, I lost my, you know, that was very a lot. I lost them kind of people in my life, man. So it's not something that I had to grow up fast when I was a kid. Let's just say that.
But I had a question.
Please.
But I want to lead into it, so I will rephrase it. And you know, you said that, you know, you became quite early involved with bad people. You quit school, but what do you think was like what led you to it? Like when you think about it back, you know, do you think about it like what?
Sure, bro. Yeah, sure. I know exactly what it was, and I never believe in school, bro. I don't believe in education. I believe in education if you want to become a doctor or a lawyer or, you know, a dentist or something that you need educating on. But, you know, bro, 1,000,000%, I'm not the richest man in the world, but I had no education. I come from a shitty council estate. I was destined to fail, bro. Do you know what I mean? I should be dead or in prison right now. And I'm sat in Czech Republic in the richest neighborhood in the country. I've got a 6-figure marketing agency. I've got 14 barbershops. I've got loads of different businesses that I deal with on a daily basis. I've got really good people around me. You know, there was something that I knew, not exactly now, knowing in the position that I'm in now, but there was something when I was young. I was hungry, bro. I was sick and tired of being around people, and I had nothing, bro. I literally had nothing when I was a kid. I had no love, no attention, no friends, no respect, no honor, no, just nothing, bro. I had no material things. All my friends had like I remember like when I was 12, 11 or 12, like, can you remember Blazing Squad? They were like an MC group, and these Parker jackets became very fashionable, like these duffel jackets with fur around the hood, and everybody had one, bro. Like, and I didn't. Do you know what I mean? So, and I just, there was things I wanted in life, and I just could never get them, and my parents were never going to give me them. I had no opportunity, so I didn't want to be I didn't want to be nobody, bro. That's the truth. I didn't want to turn out and be a nobody. I wanted to be somebody. And in the beginning, I did it in the wrong way. But, later on in life, later on in business, let's say, now I understand how to do it. But it comes full circle, bro, because when you climb up the business ladder and you have a big network of people, the rich people, when you touch in that elite market, you realize that the people who are operating at an elite level in business are just as fucking bad as the elite people in the drug dealer industry. The only difference is the elite people are doing it legally and the drug dealers are doing it stupidly. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
A drug dealer will look you in the face and say, if you don't give me that money, I'm going to kill your family. But an elite businessman will and it'll be over quickly, right? The drug dealer will finish you off there and then on the spot within a week and you're done. The elite businessman is even worse, bro, because he'll do it like get 10 lawyers, he'll crush your family, he'll torture you, do you know what I mean? Differently. Like he'll put you through bankruptcy, and they'll just smile in your face. These motherfuckers, bro, in this business, like I've not done business with people, but I've nearly been involved with business people that, you go into a meeting and you put your name, you put your authenticity on the line and you commit to people and they smile in your face and promise you the world and you put all your eggs into one basket and then, bro, they turn around, they smile in your face and then the next minute they stab you in the back. The people in the real world society these days who are in business and who are making money, not everybody, I don't say everybody, but the majority of people have got rich by fucking somebody. I'm telling you that for sure.
Yeah, life is not easy, right? Sometimes. But let's get back to how did you actually get through all this business? Because we were talking about that you had your wife, your first kid, and then you were like, I need to change something.
Sure.
And what happened? Because you were cutting hair, doing your side hustles, now the family, and now
I opened my first barbershop when I was 17. So what I knew when I left the bad world of hurt, so there's two types of criminals. There's people who hurt people for money or sell something that can hurt somebody. And then there's the other side of being a criminal. Let's say it sounds bad, but let's say an honest criminal, so you're doing stuff that is bad and not right, but, also it's not going to hurt somebody. It's hurting a big company. For example, drug dealing versus credit card scams. The drug dealing, you're selling something that's going to hurt somebody and, scraping data off credit cards isn't going to hurt somebody long term. Yeah, it's going to piss them off straight away, but the bank's going to suffer, not if you don't get caught, of course, but the bank's going to suffer. It's not, you're hurting an institution, not an individual, if that makes sense. So at this moment in life, I transitioned from, let's say, being a dark criminal to an honest criminal, and I had to go and do things that, first of all, I lost a lot of money because
That, by the way, sounds like a game, like you start, you're digging, and then you progressively, and at the end, we're going to go we have this Angela J here.
Yeah, no, I'm far from that still, mate. Don't worry, man.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, so I had this, so I had to change things and I got into things, still doing a few bad things, I was still making money, but not in a bad way towards people. So I opened up a barbershop when I was 17 because I started to make good money, but not as good money as I was before. I still needed to provide. So I started a business and, another thing in life that you learn, and probably shouldn't expose myself here, but look, it's my past that made me who I am today. But, I was using a barbershop originally, initially for, somewhere to say where the money was coming from. And that's how, I wasn't taking business seriously. That's why I've actually had about 25 barbershops, and the first 7 failed because, I didn't run them properly.
Really?
So also,
interesting.
Yeah. But like they would open for 6 months and then I'd close it down because, I didn't care if there's, on the books, it looked like 30 people had been in for a haircut, but, really maybe one person walked in off the street. But that didn't bother me because I wasn't there to run my livelihood. That wasn't providing for my family, Yeah, bro. And then, then it went to 2 barbershops, 3 barbershops, 4 barbershops. And then all of a sudden I started to, think, why am I putting all this effort into doing? But actually I realized that, the money that I'm making that I shouldn't be making, if I did this the right way, I could make the same amount of money, have more respect with good people around me. And I wouldn't have to be worried about getting a knock on the door from the police or, upsetting anybody or anything else. So I started to then understand and learn from my mistakes. Now, everything I've done to this day has all bro, there ain't no cheat code in life. Not for me anyway. I'm telling you, everything that I've got in my life is from making mistakes. I've made a million bazillion mistakes, bro. No, I've not read a book and then learned something and then put it into play and then miraculously made a company or something. It's been through trial and error.
Yeah, I don't know if that ever works. I feel like even the people who you think are kind of like this instant success, I never really, then you go back and then you see all the huge amount of work that they put in it before that people don't talk. Maybe it wasn't even I don't know, like Joey Rogan, right? The biggest podcaster. He actually done he had a big community before he got into podcasting.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
And so a lot of people who are famous on social media, podcasting or things, they already had quite a big audience. They built somewhere. Barack Obama was a good speaker before he became president. It's not many people know about it.
Yeah.
It's so publicized. So,
but bro, this is what I was speaking about earlier, where this entitlement era, this entitlement generation comes in, because what they do is they turn on their phone and they see, oh yeah, Joe Rogan, he's famous podcaster and he's in UFC, but they don't understand the work that he's put in before. So they think, oh yeah, I can do it. I can comment on the UFC and I can make a podcast and I'm going to be famous like Joe Rogan. But they don't see the hard work. This is what I was trying to say earlier, these people don't understand. There's no hard work in this generation, man. It's all entitlement, brother.
Okay, so you have, then you were having these barbershops that were failing, and then you thought, hey, I can make more money about it.
Yeah. So then, and bro, that really didn't happen. I'm talking from 17, and we're talking about 8 or 9 years here, bro. So when I was 24 years old, I just shut down my barbershop, one of my last barbershops. That was called Charlie's Barbershop. Named after my son Charlie. It was right around the corner from his school, so I wanted to just open up a shop, and I wanted him to be the talk of the main guy in the school. His dad's got a barbershop around the corner and it's called Charlie's and everyone goes there, so I did that for him. But that was still running, and that actually failed. That was because of me doing other stuff again. And I thought, I questioned, do I really want to be a barber? Is this what I really want to do? So I took a job, and it's the first, I'll tell you an interesting fact now, Dan, is in my whole entire life, I've never had a job interview. Not once. I've never sat in a job interview once in my life.
Wow.
Every single thing I've done. And now there's been times in my life where I've thought about quitting barbering and doing something different. And even sometimes with the amount of pressure, there's been some stressful times, up and downs in business. And when I've been on a down, I have thought about just fucking everything off, having a simple 9-to-5 job. And then what stops me is thinking I can't be asked to go and sit in an interview with somebody and someone tell me that I don't know what I'm doing or I'm not good for the company. Because I know in my mind, from what all the shit I've been through, I self-believe that I am capable of anything. So yeah, look, I went, the guy who was renting a house off me and my wife and my son, my second son had just been born. He's like 1.5 years old, married with 2 kids. This is my life now. I got a job as a truck driver, as a van driver. So the guy was building a ship, and he would carry wide loads, and I would be the stupid idiot driving in front of the car of the big truck or the big ship or big load with the flashing beacons. And
wow,
one day,
interesting job.
Yeah, it was a crazy shit job, but it was £10 an hour at the time. And I remember, you know, I was just driving a car. I was getting paid to drive around, and I was in between. I was unsure what I was doing. It was a hard time in my life. I wasn't taking care of myself. I didn't have, you know, the strength that I have now, and belief in myself is what I did then. You know, I just got married. I just married my ex-wife, and we got married in Las Vegas, and we came home, and, you know, things were bad between us and everything was falling apart. So just took this job, and it gave me a bit of thinking space until I could work out what I wanted to do next. And one day I was sat down and going through my phone, looking at a friend of mine called me, and he was a barber, and he'd just been out in Australia, and he called me, randomly called me and just said, yeah, you should come out to Australia. There's real good money. It's blah, blah, blah. It's beautiful life, beach, sea, ocean, cool people, easy to get into. And he put the phone down on me, and then I was like, fucking hell, man. That seems much better than me sat here for £10 an hour, right? Driving a shitty van with no future, almost busted up with my wife. I'm about to lose my family here. Like, maybe this could be the fresh start, you know? Maybe I can get away from all of this bad shit that I'm doing. I still had one foot in the bad stuff, one foot in the good stuff. I didn't know what world I wanted to be in. And started to look at it on Google, right? And mad thing, I just sat there on the phone and found this post at the time that was 6 years old in a forum. And this man called Alan Christensen, he was bless him now, he's died now, man. He had he had something wrong with him, with his heart, and he'd passed away. So God rest his soul. Yeah, and his beautiful wife Ali and his kid, they're really good people to me. I got in touch with this guy, and I thought, this is 6 years old here, man. Like, this guy ain't looking for barbers no more. The post said, like, looking for UK barbers, sponsor opportunity, lots of money, live by the ocean, just selling Australia, Melbourne, it was, right? So I emailed him. 2 days later, I thought, when I emailed him, I thought, nah, he ain't going to message me, but it's a long shot. Do you know what I mean? What am I doing, you fucking idiot? Do you know what I mean? He ain't coming back to me, man. Now, the mad thing is, 2 days later, he's emailed me back, and he's like, mate, how did you get my email address? This was 6 years ago, and he's from Manchester, Alan was. And it was funny, man, because he said, let's set up a Skype call on Thursday. Now, keep in mind, this important, this thing, Thursday, right? So this was Wednesday afternoon. I also had a recovery truck. I used to sell scrap cars as well. That was one of the other jobs that I did in between driving this shitty van. So I had a car. I had this transport truck, this recovery truck, and I didn't have no money at the time. We was living week to week, and we was renting a shitty house and stuff, and things weren't good. Anyway, this call came in on Thursday, and spoke to Alan, and he said, look, let's speak with you and your wife, and, you know, I'll try and sell it to her over the phone, and, you know, let's see about the opportunities that we can give you, and tell you about the neighborhoods and the prosperity for the kids and the future, blah, blah, blah. So I said, all right, cool. Yeah, let's jump on a call. We jumped on the call, and he's shown us everything. And I showed him my haircuts. You know, I had a few pictures of haircuts, and he knew I was good because I'd had my own barber shops and stuff before, and the way I talked to people and stuff. And, you know, it was good. It looked good, looked promising. And he said, and I said, have you got any more questions for me? And he said, the one question, I remember the question he said to me was, when can you start? And I said, oh yeah, I'll see you on Monday, will I? Like, jokingly with him. But what he didn't know, mate, I was being serious, right? And I'll tell you a fucked up story now, Dan, right? Is he said, all right then, mate, I'll see you on Monday morning. Be at the shop. We open at 10 o'clock. And I'm sat in, at this point, I was living in North Devon in the UK, which is right down in the southwest. And this geezer in Australia, in Melbourne, telling me, right, if you come over, he just sold Australia to me. I'm in an absolute shithole in my life right now. And he's like selling me this opportunity to come and work in Australia, earn all this money, live by the beach. And we put the phone down and I said, all right, I said to him, all right, I'll see you Monday. I said, don't give me an opportunity because I'll take it, mate. I fucking need it right now. You're about to give the only man in the world that's probably stupid enough to fly halfway across the world for a job interview. Right. So put the phone down, said to my wife, she was like, I'm not sure if we should go, da, 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 da. And I said, listen, I want to go. Like, I think this is a fucking big opportunity for us. It can clear my head, but we couldn't afford all to go together. So I had no money, mate. I had zero money right now. I had like a couple of pounds in my pocket, right? I had fuck all in my pocket. And I thought, how can I get to Australia by Monday? And I went out, I looked out the window and I saw my recovery truck and it was worth £1,100, right? £1,100, which is about 32,000 crowns, let's say. So I put it on an auction on eBay for 24 hours and I thought I could have the money in a day. So Friday I got the money. Someone come and bought the recovery truck for £1,100. And then I bought a plane ticket for Saturday that I'd leave on Saturday night in London and arrive Monday morning at 5 a.m. in Australia, bro. Now, this is God's honest truth, but I swear to you on my kids, right? Bro, listen, this is how fucked up I was at that time, right? And how hungry I am, right? How you can't give me an opportunity and don't think I won't take it, right? So I spent £800 on a flight, one-way ticket, right? Spent £150 on 2 nights in the Pension Hotel on Collins Street in Melbourne. I know the address because I always remember that was the first place I ever fucking set foot in Australia. Got a friend of mine friend of mine's a different question, but so he took me up to London on Saturday night. I got on the plane, arrived in Melbourne on the Monday morning. Got to the hotel. The hotel let me check in early because you're not supposed to check in till 2 or something, but I'd explained my situation. They let me in the room, went and got a shower. And mate, I went down and I walked to the barber shop, right? And Alan used to drive a motorbike. So he had a helmet on. So he pulled up in the motorbike. I'm waiting outside the shop, didn't speak to him, right? But he walked up and he's 10 minutes late. So he's gone, oh, I'm really sorry, mate. There was really big traffic on the highway. And I've just said to him, oh, don't worry about it. He's clued up thinking I'm a customer waiting for a haircut now. And he's gone in, mate, he's walked into the barber shop, took his helmet off and like halfway up the shop, he just paused and froze, turned around and he said, how the fuck do I know you? I've seen you before. I said, yeah, I'm here for the job. And he went, fucking hell, I didn't think you was going to turn up. Fuck, what are you doing here? And I was like, bro, I told you, if you're going to give me the opportunity, I'm coming Monday. And then, you know what, Dan? This is the pinnacle moment on how you can see people for who they really are. The guy told me, right, any other person probably in the world would have said, listen, mate, go home, get some rest, fuck off. You know what I mean? Like, you're mad. You know what I mean? Thinking I'm a mad bastard for doing what I've just done. But he said to me, he goes, right, go and set up your clippers. Anyone that walks in, you can take them and you can work the day. Wow. So I started then, I got off the plane, went straight into work and that's how I knew Al was a good man. He was a really good guy because he gave me an opportunity there. That day he saw that I was good. You know, and he said, yeah, you're great with the customers. You're mad as shit, but you know, you're good with customers. When we finish work, I'm going to take you I'll help you find a place. And I said, look, mate, I'll be totally honest. I've come here with no money. Like I just wanted the opportunity. I just really wanted to come here and get away from the shit that I was in. And he just said to me, look, mate, I'll sub you 2 weeks of your money. And then I used that money and I went and bought an Airbnb for a month. And then, yeah, just carried on working and just worked every day and just got my head down in Australia. And yeah, man, it was fucking crazy to think now. Like now, if you told me, go across the world, I'd think I was fucking batshit crazy. But at the time, I thought it was absolutely logical and acceptable to go across the world with no money, with your last bit of money, and start a job that you don't even know that you've got. Like, just turn up. You know, it's crazy crazy shit, man.
Yeah. That is definitely crazy on the scale. I moved to another country with little money. Like I took a blah car the next day, but definitely not across the world. That's another level of. But the thing is, like sometimes you feel, and sometimes you're also in this moment when you really need the change, and you're like, I don't know. By the way, when I needed a change, funnily enough, I was also driving cars. I didn't work with a car with lights, but I was working in a rent car company. And then,
Okay.
yeah, I just like I was in Germany for 2 semesters abroad, and then return. I didn't know what I'm gonna do, so I would just work for that company, waiting for my other bachelor to finish. And I was doing it for I don't know, a few weeks, and it wasn't really good money, and I didn't enjoy it, and I just like wanting to be not in Czech Republic. I think that was like the main goal, and so I woke up one day and I was like, I should go back to Germany, and I booked a BlaBlaCar, which is kind of a car sharing. So if people go to some city, so I found somebody who's going to the city where I lived before as a student in Constance. I booked the car.
Cool.
Put my things there, and I went there, and I had no accommodation, no job, and not that much money, like for months or something, And then I was there, and I remember, like, I was there, I'm like, why the fuck did I get here? Like, why? What I'm doing here, And I was like living with my friends, and then I couldn't find accommodation because I wrote to every single advertisement of accommodation. Every single day, like hundreds of emails. I just copied, paste. Like if I didn't think I can get it, I still copy paste it.
Yeah.
Every single day, and then I came across this name, which was named Corinne. It's not very like name that you hear often.
Okay.
And she was a friend of my former flatmate. And I wrote her, like, I think I know you. Like, well, what's up with you? Why are you leaving your room? And she's like, yeah, I'm moving to another city to study. She's like, you can take my room. And she just give me the room with no like interview, because normally they do interviews for like if you want to find a house as a student in Germany. And I got a house, and then I got 2 jobs. And but like there was this period of when I was like, I don't know how I'm gonna like pay for my food. Like why would I go here with no money, no job, and like but those moments are. Now it's fun to think about it, right? It's a good story, but at the time you're there, you're like, there's this moment when you're like, yeah, when I was in the car, I was like, yeah, I'm going back. And then I was there, I'm like, what the fuck am I here?
Shit,
like, what I'm doing.
Yeah, man. But you know what, though? They're key moments in life, Dan. Like, they're precious moments, man, because they are, they're just times when you don't think about the consequences, but everything in life, you have to, something amazing always happens when you do something that you believe is out of your control. When you think you've got a limit and you surpass that limit, always something amazing happens. Like, I'll give you an example. Recently this happened to me. So I've been very tired and working my ass off this year. And it was I've been out in Miami, and I set some business up in Miami with a friend of mine, came back to Prague, worked in the barbershop. I've been struggling in the barbershop to find staff in Czech Republic. And then my sons, I had my 2 boys, my older ones came over from the UK. And then end of the summer, I took them back and I said, look, I need a holiday here. I need to get the fuck out of it. I need a rest. So my 3-year-old son had a birthday coming up. So he was turning 3, and I said, right, let's just go to Thailand, and we're going to go for a holiday, and I'm going to do nothing for a month. Well, you know me, and that didn't happen, bro. Like, bro, I literally, right, with no effort whatsoever, not with no effort, because that's wrong to say that, because someone might be listening to this and think that everything just comes for nothing. Let's say with my knowledge and the type of person who I am and how I act with people, I went to Thailand, to Pattaya, not a big city. Pattaya is about 2 hours from Bangkok, down south on the coast. And when I came back 2 days ago, I just landed 2 or 3 days ago back in Prague. I'd signed up $11,800 of business for my marketing agency while I was on holiday in Thailand. Like, I had no intention to go and work. I had intention to go there, relax, and then just from, my biggest fear, bro, and it's probably the same for you. Well, maybe not for you now. I don't know. You can tell me if I'm wrong or not.
Sure.
But when you find somebody who's very energetic, very motivated, very focused on what they're doing and who they are and sure of themselves, the biggest fear to me is to do nothing, just to sit still and be, I feel guilty if I do nothing. I feel guilty if I even take an hour to go to the gym for myself. And, if I'm unproductive in any way, I can't just sit on the sofa for myself. I can do it for my kids. I can do it for other people. I can go for dinner with somebody to listen to them and support them. But if I want to do something for myself, I'm very guilty, and it's probably a bad thing. That's one of my bad traits, is that I don't take care of myself enough. And actually, what I must say, bro, is like having conversation with you, and not even since I really spoke to you since what happened with Liz, but even before that, like the times when you used to come in and speak, you was doing your coaching, your life coaching stuff. And one thing that stuck out to me was like I think we had a conversation once about self-care, and you actually really taught me something. Like, I found it hard to take on board, but and actually put it into practice. But one of the things I did remember speaking to you, which is prominent about our client business relationship, let's say, from you being a client of me, was one thing that we spoke about was self-care. And I really thought that you would be pretty good at that.
At self-care.
Self-care.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm great at self-care, to be honest, Actually, I think I agree with you, like maybe I think it's part of the whole society, you have to be productive. I agree that things are earned, and you need to work. But also, like, I think the productivity became kind of the goal, which shouldn't be, right? Like I would like to think more that like kindness is more important than if you have success or if you are more productive. Busy people are, I don't know. I think there's like this toxic productivity, I guess, or something like that. To give you an example, so a while ago, I quit my job. I went traveling, and this was supposed to be like time for myself, right? I was here. I could do nothing, and it will be fine, and it was kind of even the goal maybe of not doing much. But I had the first 3 weeks of traveling were horrible. I felt horribly.
Really?
Because I felt like I don't have any story to tell. I didn't like see something like cool, I don't have a picture to show. I don't have like something to, because like, I don't know, maybe I had this expectation that, it's going to be all full of these crazy stories, and things happened, and it wasn't all bad, but I had this like, I was choking myself with like not doing anything, even before I, by the way, went on this trip. And I was telling people like, hey, I'm thinking about taking a few months off and traveling and maybe leaving my job. I also, in the meanwhile, got another job offer. So there was like all these decisions, and I'm talking to people, and a lot of the people that I talked to were like, you can go traveling, but what else are you going to do? Like, what they didn't say that in a word, like, how are you going to be productive? But they were like, you can't just, there was like this kind of tone, like, you can't just go and just be there. And you can, and even if you're never doing nothing, you're traveling, you're meeting people, but not every day is a great story, and not every week I can say, hey, and I work meticulously on podcast or writing blog or whatever, and it's hard to kind of just let that flow and say, hey, maybe this is the time for myself, and that's what's important. And it's not important to return from a trip and give kind of a resume of this is everything I accomplished here, because this place is not about accomplishment. It should be about me, actually. But even for me, it's sometimes not easy to acknowledge it and to really live by it.
Yeah, but like, I 100% agree with you there, bro. Like, and for me, what I wanted to explain to you earlier, that was another thing I wanted to say about education and going to school, is like, by going to school and educate and being educated, you are limited. You have a limited mindset. Like you just said, like people were telling you, oh, you can't do that. You can't go to travel. You can't go and just do nothing. And if you wanted to, like you can, but it's like society is telling you that You can't do it. So people who live outside of, let's say, the normal realms of society are the people who are productive in life and who are doing something with their life. Like I always say that, go to school and do your education, because it's always the C and D students at school who employ the A and B students to work for them and build a business, right? So if you want to go to school and be educated and do your thing and go to university and get yourself in shitloads of debt and come out with no life skills and then come and work for me and make me a ton shit of money, all good. Go and do that. Do you know what I mean? But I would like to start showing people, hey, listen, if you can do, like, not even just with business, but with anything in your life, I think you should not be limited. I don't think that you should be told what to do just because someone else is doing that. I think everyone should have the entitlement to be free. And, if like the situation you're in, if that's what you needed and that's what you wanted to do at that moment in time to, you felt here you was, you wanted to change something, you wanted to change something in your life and you wanted to get away, and maybe that would help you after what happened with the situation you was in with your girlfriend. And, maybe you don't want to be every day in the same place that would constantly remind you of what happened. So who the fuck is anybody to tell you that you can't travel and go and be free and, go and work on yourself? Just because you're doing nothing some days doesn't mean that you're actually doing nothing. You're not actually doing nothing. You might be, sometimes you got to sit still and you got to, understand yourself and, put some time into you. And you said, I remember you told me that even bro, I'm guilty of it myself. I remember when you told me, yeah, I'm going to go traveling. I was like, wow, bro, how are you going to afford that? Because I thought you just told me you quit your job. And I was like, and you was like, yeah, it's okay. I've been saving. And, if something doesn't happen, I can just go and get a job and I'll get by, And then that made me realize the purpose of your trip wasn't to go and build anything successfully here in the Czech Republic. It was to go and build on yourself.
Yeah. Interesting. You remember that. No, yeah, that makes sense. No, you're not.
Maybe I'm wrong.
It's interesting to hear it in those words, because I don't know if I was thinking about it like that. And also, it wasn't like straight conversation. Like I had so many back and forths. Even nowadays, I'm sometimes like, because I decided to stay here a little bit longer, and I still struggle with like, I'm burning through the savings, and I'm kind of poor, and I think a lot of my value, even though logically I don't think that, like, I still feel like somewhere like deep in me, part of my value was always based, like, I had a good job, and something that provided me with enough so I can also take care of other people and do things. And now I don't have that, and kind of like, even like, like sometimes I'm like, maybe I should make some money, and I'm looking for some jobs, and I'm like sometimes looking for things that I think make no sense that I would be doing. They won't like grow me as a person. They would literally be just like to get a little bit few dollars. But then, what's the point of doing it here? I could as well be just working in Prague instead of doing some crappy job. So I was like,
yeah.
So I'm constantly trying to remind myself, no, you just decided you're staying here. You will run out of the money eventually. That's a fact. And you will make the money, but just use the time for all the other things, because like you said it in the Barber Academy, right? When you are trying to look for the money, you're getting far away from it.
Yes.
Yeah, and I don't think that there is I'm not right at the point when I need to make the money. I will get there. I will eventually, in a few months. And then because I went through, like you went through your story in Australia, I went through my story in Germany. I know I will find job, and I will make money if I really have to. And maybe also, meanwhile, I will figure out something, because as I was traveling, I started talking to people, and I'm actually doing like a small side job, helping one guy in Czech Republic set up some business around dark therapy, which is more of a hobby. It's not really a job for me. I'm not doing it for the money. I'm doing it because I enjoy it. And who knows, maybe along
nice.
the line in the next 5 months, I will get the job without an interview, just being and doing stuff. And if not, I will work hard and I will get the job. But yeah, I think it's also the intention, right? And you talked about the places of stillness, and actually there was some woman, and she described it as sometimes you need to be on your lonely island, and to kind of have that moment when you really, shit happens in your life, and you're kind of like just alone, and you need to really go basically hit the rock bottom or the bottom floor, or maybe not completely, but a little bit. And then those are the moments when you're like, get to kind of reinvent yourself, get to figure out things. So, you need to have the time being on a lonely island, because the thing is, like in regular life, right, you're constantly doing something. There's this, there's always another thing, another job, another gym, and another thing with your friends, another opportunity. And it's sometimes hard to just stop and like actually think like, hey, am I still doing the things that I want to be doing? And maybe you are, that's also fine to come up to the conclusion. I'm not saying that that people need to change every year or something, but it's good to have those moments. And I wonder if you had a moments of stillness in your life that you can think of.
Ooh, bro, that's a good question. And I just need to have a little think about that, to be honest. I don't think I ever have. Honestly, and part of that is what I was trying to explain before, is because, my biggest fear is to do nothing, is to be nothing, to have nothing, part of what keeps me going is because I know, and why I do so many things, why I've got so many things going on, is because I know I always have something to do. Like, I can't even go on holiday with my family and not do business. It's crazy. It's like I constantly have to do something, but I enjoy it. I enjoy to be busy. I feel good. I feel better about myself. I feel that I'm doing something that my parents didn't do for me. I'm setting up a future for my family. I'm showing other people from the outside looking in that no matter what you've been through, you can always make something of yourself. No matter what level of success you are on, I can sit in rooms of millionaires who speak posh with Queen's English, but I can also go and sit and smoke weed with a group of gangsters in a shed in the back hoods of London. Do you know what I mean? So, for me, that's part of what barbering taught me, is you're able to speak and communicate with loads of different people, and being still, that don't fit in my life. I don't think, really don't fit into my life. I find it difficult. That's the one thing that I'm afraid of, if I'm being honest with myself, is I have moments of self-reflection. I have times and days when I don't feel great, and I look in the mirror and maybe I could lose a couple of extra pounds, or I could look and go, you know what, I could have done more today. I could have done another meeting. I could have made another sales call. I could have done something extra for somebody else. Or, you've seen it yourself with a couple of the boys in the barbershop. There's a couple of Czech lads in the shop that, one of them, we won't name names, but he was very young, and he came in and I taught him how to make good money as a barber. Probably a lot of money that he would never have ever had in his life or will ever have again as a barber, for, let's say the Czech average salary. And he went on a downward spiral with that. He weren't able to manage the money that he was bringing in at such a young age. And I feel responsible for that, because what I should have done as a caregiver, as a person who is supposed to be not a boss, but someone who's trying to direct him and mentor him in the right direction, I did it in one aspect of showing him how to get the money, but I didn't show him how to manage it. So, there's times when I look back at things, and at the moment I was pissed off, and, I was probably blameful more on him, but, self-reflection, and I don't have still moments. I have moments of reflection, to answer your question. Let's leave it like that.
And by the way, I remember that one of those moments which happened again in the barbershop. We should have like barbershop talks.
Yeah. Yeah, man.
It will be an interesting show. A lot of things happened in the barbershop.
Too many things.
But I remember, before, I think it was before I was going on a trip, like some of my last haircuts with you in Prague. And we were talking about something, and then you said like, I was telling you about the trip and things. Then you told me, yeah, I'm kind of in part of my life when I don't know what I'm doing right now. And that really struck me. And I was like, I thought this dude has it all figured out, like... And the fact that you said it was already meant a lot. And it also reminded me of the moment when that was actually with Ines. She was in my second episode, I think.
Okay.
And I had a conversation with her. She's a psychologist there. And I had a conversation with her about some relationship. And she was telling me about like all the malfunctions. And I was like, oh, so psychologists also have problems, like sometimes you have this feeling like, people just like, they all sort it out. And then you kind of find out that, yeah, we all sometimes struggle. So that's kind of the
probably
part
more
of the life.
fucked up than normal people than the patients, bro.
Yeah. Yeah. What was, do you remember what was that about?
Why I didn't know what I wanted to do. Why I didn't know where I was at. Yeah, do you know what it is, bro? It's like, and actually that's what I was just about to comment on, like on what you're saying there. So for me, I'm so hungry in life, bro, for the next level.
Mm-hmm.
Like for men, like, let's go back to what you said earlier, right? About money, right? So I spent a lot of time trying to chase after money and then realized eventually that the more you chase after money, the further it goes away from you. But the moment you stand still and just do what you love to do, the money comes to you instead. So it's like a role reversal. And it's the same with happiness for me. For many years, I thought that if I could make a lot of money and be this person that everybody, this big macho guy with all these businesses, and probably how you even perceive me yourself, because you said you didn't understand how I got it all figured out. So people who think that I'm the guy who's got it all figured out when I actually haven't. The reason for that is because, my end goal for a long time was to become famous, rich, get money, put money in the bank, have big house, big car, move around, do whatever I want to do. And I've got all of that now. I do all of that. And I'm happy. I'm content with my life. I've got good people around me, but I'm not 100. I truly believe I will never be 100% happy, because what makes me happy, Dan, and took me a very long time to find out as a man, is I don't enjoy the destination. It's the journey that I enjoy. The grind. I love going, when I was in, for example, when I was in Thailand and I told you about the clients, right? Now I don't have to go and do sales calls. I don't have to go and generate leads or find prospects and, go on meetings with people. But I've done all that before, and I was really enjoyed being in the trenches, let's say. I don't have to go and cut hair, but I go, and today I went in the barbershop and cut some hair today, right? And I don't have to do that. Financially, I don't have to do it. The same reason that financially you don't have to help your friend, but you do it because it's what makes you happy. And I think that's the key to life, is just doing things that make you happy, Yeah, I truly believe the journey is what makes me happy. I'll do something, build it up, hand it over to a team, and then I'm like, right, okay, that's making money. I've got this money in the bank. Got these good people around me. There's a good team. What the fuck am I going to do next? So I have to start something different, and go on a new journey.
Yeah. Well, what was the point when you figure out like, okay, it's not about the money and the goal and the fame, but what are the steps to get you to thinking, oh wait, actually it's the journey?
You know what? Thinking about it now, and I told you earlier that my oldest son, Charlie, he saved my life.
Yeah.
Yeah. From taking me out of my middle son. He saved my life also, but in a different way. He put me on a different path that I need to provide for my children now the right way. Not doing not doing the bad way, but I need to, I need to get my shit together. Jay, you need to get your shit together now. You got 2 kids here. You can't be fucking about because this is not going to last forever. And then what exactly what you just asked me was now, I've got my third son, my junior, his name is Jay Junior. And just having the freedom, from my other 2 children, I was out working constantly 7 days a week, trying to find the next buck, trying to make the money. And then me and their mum broke up. So my middle son, Reggie, I didn't really get to see him grow up because I was living away, and, I'd come home, of course, and see them and, take care of them and make sure they had everything that they wanted while they were in the care of their mum. But now, being every day, seeing my baby son now, Junior, being able to be with him and have that opportunity to take him to Thailand and walk around Thailand with him on my shoulders and take him to feed elephants and, go on speedboats and go snorkeling in the middle of the ocean at 3 years old and, wake up every day and not have to go to work and take him to the jungle gym and get a coffee and scuffle my knees up from going down the slides and just dumb shit, that's really what made me, just being able to do that, because I missed out on that. I did the right thing as a dad by providing, but I didn't do the right thing as a dad with my other 2 kids because I wasn't present, and now I'm in a position that I can be present and provide for my son here and for my other 2 kids, It's really cool that I had a son really young, because now my oldest one, Charlie, finishes school next year, and, we're going to go on a trip together. I've promised him if he does his grades, I'm going to take him wherever he wants to go in the world. I've told him, wherever you want to go in the world, me and you are just going to go together and have like a father-son trip, just us 2, And then, he's talking about wanting to do marketing and, doing something in business. And for sure, I can help him because he can come and work with me in my company. Even maybe in the barber shop, he's shown a keen eye for that, and that's up to him. So, I'm very fortunate now that I've gone full cycle with the kids, and I understand what makes me happy, and that's making them happy and being able to provide and teach them lessons in life that I didn't have.
Yeah. Wow. One thing I was thinking about it as you talk through your story and as you talk through all your boys and when you told you, it's like many times I heard of this word providing. Do you think there's some pressure like on guys to be the providers? And because I sometimes felt like when you were, for example, going to Australia, right? I felt like that must have been also pressure, because it wasn't just about surviving, yourself. Then there was a family behind it. So there was an extra, I feel like there's extra pressure.
100%, bro. I told you in the beginning, I'm old school, man. And the man has to provide. I believe the man, let's go back to fucking before Jesus was born and there were cavemen walking around, right? The man had to go out and make sure the family ate. He had to go out and kill the food and bring that home, and then give that to the wife to cook. That was the man's job to do since time began. So that's just in our natural habitat as men. And there are pressures. There are a lot of pressures. But if you have kids, don't have kids if you're not ready to provide. Do you know what I mean? Don't take that risk. Don't commit to a responsibility that you're not ready to complete. That's my take on that.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense. Wow.
Look, bro, to be 100% honest, and I've got friends, not friends, let's say acquaintances in England and all over the world that have got kids and they don't provide for their children. They try, because, let's say child maintenance money every month. The father will see that he's paying the money to the mother and not for the children, the care of the kids. Now, of course, there's variables there that what the mum's doing with the money, if she's spending it on the kids or whatever, but that shouldn't even be a question. Like if you that money's not for the wife. You're just doing your job. You know what I mean? Just goes back to saying, just do what you got to do. I remember when I broke up with my ex-wife and I came back from Australia and she wouldn't let me see the kids. I'd done some bad things. I'd done some, let's just say I did some bad things, did some things I shouldn't have done, which made her feel that I don't want to see the kids. And that's fair enough. And I remember going to a pub, and afterwards, this guy came in. It was Friday night, and this guy came in and sat next to him at the pub, and he said to me, his phone kept ringing. And then he said to me, I said, bruv, ain't you going to get your phone? Like, pick your phone up, it's going off. He said, nah, it's my fucking it's my missus. I said, yeah, what's wrong? Oh, she wants me to come and get the kids. I said, brother, listen, right? I've just flown halfway across the world to be with my children, and I can't see them. I've given everything I've ever fucking wanted in my life up in Australia to come back to this place where I was a complete fuck up. And now I'm sat next to you, and I cannot see my kids. I would give my fucking left ball bag. I would give everything, anything. I would give you completely give you my left arm, my finger, all of my organs in my body to go and see my kids right now. It's all I want. And you're sat here with the opportunity complaining that your wife or your ex-missus wants you to go and see your kids. Yeah, but she's this and this. I said, listen, we need to finish this conversation because I'm going to end up hurting you because you are doing something. You're in a situation, you're complaining about a situation that hundreds of men would want to be in who don't have the privilege to be in. And he walked out the bar and he went and saw his kids after having that conversation. Yeah, man, he picked the phone up and
really.
So nice. It was like,
that's a good inspiration, man.
You know, in his world was he saw that his wife and he couldn't be bothered. And because, you know, as humans, when something's available to us, we're not interested in it.
Yes.
So everybody wants something that's not available. You know, it's the law of life. You know, everyone wants something they can't have until it becomes available. Right. So this situation, he could have access to his kids whenever he wanted. And then he heard my story and thought, fucking hell, this guy can't even see his kids, even if he wants to. So changed his mind up a little bit there. So
yeah, no, that's what you said at the end. That was exactly what I was thinking about it. Like, people always want what they can have, right? And I had to say, you know, when I was traveling, there was a few moments where I really went down the spiral. Like, a lot of not good thing happened to me. It wasn't like really tragic if I think about it back, but like at the time, like all just like put it in, and just like my mindset just like threw me into this well of depression. And I was just thinking, like, wouldn't it be nice to just like have a job, you know, and be there with like my wife and family, you know, you just go to job and it's like everything is planned. Then you go to the gym, you know. And then like I know like how every time I talk to my friends, they're like, oh my god, it's so great, you know, we can travel, and what I would do to, you know, to travel. And I was there like, oh my god, I wish I could be home. That was only for a moment. That wasn't for a long time, but I had that like and that's also about like, you know, when you are the life is go up and down, and sometimes you are in some down. You also said it about the job, right? You were like, oh my god, what it would be to have a 9-to-5 job. And you know, I was already like about months ago, I was literally booking my tickets to return Czech Republic. I was like, I have it enough. This is like shit. Like nothing makes sense here. Like nothing works here. Like everything I touched like didn't work out. And
but you pushed through it though, yeah?
Yeah, I got a coffee. I got a coffee with because I remember one thing, which is very interesting. I read it. I read this in one book, which I can't. What is it called? Grief is Love, and it's this woman. She lost her mom when she was younger to cancer, but then the grief kind of came back as she grew older, and then I think she had a miscarriage. And she wrote like the book about grief, and then she wrote about one thing that the person, if it was somebody really close to you, they were doing something for you, they were providing you in some way, something, you know, and then you need to learn how you take that care and you apply it to yourself because the person is not there anymore. And for me, so for me, Liz was this person that I would go to for comfort, or if I would feel stressed, and she would always have something to say, or hug me, or do something to kind of do this kind of self-care, basically.
Yeah.
And so since she is not here, I need to kind of learn up how to sometimes be kinder to myself, especially in situations like this. So I thought about I'm gonna take myself for a faki and coffee and alfajor, which is like a small Argentinian cookie. And I went there, and that's, by the way, when I came up with the idea of writing these letters. Like, I'm trying to write a gratitude letter to a person for 30 days every day.
Wow.
And it kind of gave me a purpose of feeling that I'm doing something for other people and something to do and to kind of, get with. And since
that's
everything...
mad. That's mad, bro. Bro, just touching on that, like the letter that you sent me was, bro, you changed my day. I was having a shit day, man. I was having a shit day, stressed. And then like totally out of the blue, like before we even agreed to do this, I mean, like, I just want to put it out there that you sent it with no intention of getting me on some podcast. It was generally straight from the heart. And bro, big love for the letter that you sent me, because it was always difficult for me, bro. Like after I had spoken to you about Liz outside of the shop and we come across that whole situation, it was always hard for me to, because you was my client, you wasn't a friend, you know what I mean? The kind of conversation we had was more like what you would have with a friend. You'd sit and listen to a friend and hear them pour their heart out. But sometimes the kindness of a stranger does more than the kindness of a friend, right? So the letter that you wrote to me really, it kind of closed the chapter for me in my own head, because I'd always had an open book about having a conversation. From the conversation that we had, that let's say that opened the book, then I always felt difficult to speak to you about anything after that in regards to that situation. So when you sent me that letter and you notified me that what I did that day helped you, that made me feel really great about myself, because, and bro, even better, that I was really happy that I was able to do that for you. Do you know what I mean? Like, and that cost nothing. And that's what the world should be like. I'd done my job. I'd done my duty as a human being, seen somebody who needed some help, and I gave it to them. And bro, that letter was one of the nicest things anyone's ever done for me. So thank you.
Oh, I'm happy that it made your day. That kind of was the intention of hoping that I will do the job.
It's mad as well, bro. Do you know what I mean? Because man to man, what fucking man writes another man a letter and gets a little bit emotional about it? Do you know what I mean? Like man to man when we're talking here, bruv, you know?
Yeah.
So to be able to have that level of comfort, to, a lot of people maybe would have felt, shy or embarrassed or something to even approach to write that and send it to the person. But I'm so happy that you did, bruv. So respect to you, man.
Yeah, and by the way, it's it's not easy. Like, it takes actually a lot of energy, because there is a lot of vulnerability. And even though it might seem like, hey, this guy just did it. Sometimes, like, I actually, I try to do it in 30 days. I will not finish it in 30 days, because some days I just skip, because sometimes it's
overwhelming.
Yeah, like you're writing it and you're like completely in the cringe, like you're like, can I say that? Like, is that okay? And what will they think of me? And like getting also the emotion out. And sometimes I'm thinking about, like, will this letter be as good as the other one that I write? I don't know why even, like there's not competition between like which letter is better, right? It's about just saying.
Yeah, but listen, Dan, that shouldn't even be a concern to you, because what you're saying is coming from your heart, and it's what you wanted to say and how you felt. So whether that person accepted it or not, you got the benefit you wanted to get out of it, was getting it out of yourself, out of your own mind and out of your own heart. And if someone would accept it, then that's down to them or not. Do you know what I mean? If I'd have said, hey, fucking hell, you weird bastard, what are you doing? Sending me love letters on Instagram. Like, whether I said that or, how I really felt was, I really appreciated it. You actually took the time and appreciated that I'd gone out of my way to help you and to actually support you, because 99 times out of 100, Dan, other people would have just said, oh, don't worry about it, mate. Go up the road and we'll see you next time. Do you know what I mean? That's what a lot of people would have done in that situation. Like, let's be real.
Yeah.
Like, and that ain't me, bro. I could, as I said, it's my duty and obligation, not even just as a human, man, if I see somebody who's struggling, they need that support. So whether or not that person, the next letter that you write, will accept it or not, or they think you're weird, or they think you're the greatest person in the world, I think it's important for you just to get it out and just do it, brother. You know what I mean? Just don't care.
Yeah, definitely. No, I agree. And it's not even like I don't care about like what people. Okay, I cannot say that I don't care at all, but never was the purpose to get any reaction, which I, by the way, wrote even in the letter. And I never really cared as much about what people will like do, but it's more like this. I don't know, internal struggle, with like getting it out, because then you need to be kind of also emotional and vulnerable in front of yourself, right? Which is not something that I was brought up with. It's something that, that's something I'm learning, and that was a journey that started maybe 3-4 years ago. So that's not something I'm mastering yet, and I don't know if I ever will master it, but it's good to learn, and that's what I said. When I said like, "Hey, there's this guy who's very manly, but he has in touch with the heart," because a lot of people are not. A lot of people, it's hard to have conversation with them about things like this. It's not that they don't even want to; they just don't know how.
They can't. Yeah, they can't do it. Yeah, exactly, bro. Exactly. I totally get it, brother.
Yeah.
Respect for doing it. Big respect to you, man.
So yeah, we always end up in the barbershop, which leads me to
all the time. Everything we talk about, always around the barbershop, man.
Always around the bar. So, how did Jay end up? We need to answer this question before we finish this podcast, because I think people will go. How did Jay end up in Prague? Like, so you were out in Australia, you went back to UK, and
so I was in Australia and I made a TV show and got it to Netflix and Australian TV, which was the reality show called the London Barber Movement. And then I had trouble with it. When I was going to Australia, I had a visa with my ex-wife, and during the visa process being finalized, me and my ex-wife had broken up and we started a divorce process. So the visa was in, let's say, the blue area in the cloud. And I came back to the UK to sort out the kids and sort out the divorce and stuff. And meanwhile, being back in the UK turned back into, I'd lost my whole life again. I felt like I'd lost 2 lives now because I'd changed in Australia. I lost that life, came back to the UK, and I'd lost my family life. So what do you do when you lose everything? You revert back to your raw instinct, which is deep inside of you. And the devil came out of me again. And I started to do bad things again because I had no responsibility. So I started to go down a dark hole and almost killed myself. I went through a time where I nearly had a gun to my head and was ready to pull the trigger. I was in a bad way, drinking and doing drugs and just completely trying to absent my mind off this planet because of the loss that I'd gone through. And not because of what I'd lost, it's because I'd really tried for the first time in my life to change who I was into a better person. And I'd done that, and I just felt at that time that fucking hell, I've been a horrible cunt my whole life. And I now am trying to do the best and do everything the right way. And this happens. So very luckily, a friend of mine saved me from doing something stupid to myself and took me under his wing. And he's now my fucking bestest friend in the world. Matt Bevan, his name is. He saved me. He's like an angel on my shoulder, this guy. And I owe him everything. I owe him everything because he saved me. I wouldn't be here talking to you now if it wasn't for him. He really fucking pulled my head out my ass, let's say. So then anyway, look, once he'd pulled my head out my ass, I decided to go back to Australia. I couldn't have access to my kids, and I thought, if I'm out of sight and out of mind from my ex-wife, maybe we can work something out, allow some time and we can sort it out, which we did. And that was great. And now I'm happy to say everything is, we're not best friends, but we're amicable. Went back to Australia. Everything was okay. I used to fly home all the time to see the kids. And then I had an issue with the visa that I couldn't stay in Australia because I'd run out of options, let's just say, with the visa terminology, and decided to set up a consultancy business. This was one of my first businesses that I still have today. It's a coaching business. Started off with just coaching barbers and networking with barbers and helping barbershops. And now that's grown to today to working with multiple businesses and multiple brands and companies across the world and just helping them with some consulting and how they can make their business better. But now, so from there, I left and started to travel around the world doing this barber coaching job with this guy who'd been on Netflix and TV and, sort of like doing a guest spot and traveling, and then started to invest in barbershops because, I was by myself and just traveling. Didn't have no ties anywhere and it was really great. It was really good. But, when you're traveling around the world, country to country for a year, you want to have a home, and came back to the UK for the summer to spend it with my kids. Stayed with Matt, the guy I was telling you about. And my grandma passed away in this summer, so I was happy to be home and and be there for that. But rather than being away and having it happen, and then I one of the guys, I have 3 barbershops in Norway, and one of the shops that I acquired, there was a guy called Tom who was an English guy from Birmingham, but he worked in Prague and lived in Prague, and he heard about Norway. So he came over to work in the shop that I had there, and he worked for a little while, but it was too expensive for him because he was used to Czech Republic prices, not Norwegian prices, let's say. Although now fucking Czech Republic prices are almost the same as Norwegian prices these days. He left, no love lost there. It was all good to meet him. And after I went back to the UK, his boss, he told his boss about me, and they brought me over. And my missus now, who's the mother of my son, she was the manager. She was a Czech girl.
Manager of the barbershop.
She was the manager of the barbershop. She didn't cut hair. She was like she
was making sure that these guys don't go crazy in the chaos.
Yeah, exactly. So, we got together, and one thing led to another. I mean, I was tired of traveling around the world, and she was by herself, had a little apartment, and bro, even at this point in my life, I had a few investments, but I didn't really have too much, and this was only less than 5 years ago before I even started to make any money. I was doing all right. Do you know what I mean? I had a few small investments and stuff, but none of the big companies that I have now. So we really started from the beginning. We was living in, funny enough, her ex-boyfriend's 1KK apartment in Hodov, and we stayed there for 3 weeks. I moved in for free, and 3 weeks later we went and got an apartment, and then that's when I opened King of Kings and continued with my other businesses, and I think that's when we met. So, and now today you're on the other side of the world. I've been on the other side of the world, and now I'm back in Prague, and you're going to be back in Prague soon. So I'm sure we'll go for a coffee when you're back in Prague as well, man.
Love it. Yeah. By the way, funny enough, when I lived in Prague, I lived when I spent most of my childhood was on the other side of the Chodov, the other side of the forest. So that's the hood. So we lived there, and then where did you have the apartment in
Hodov? The name of the street was by the swimming pool, Jedinečka or something it was called. Not far from Hodov shopping center. Let's say 5 minutes in the car.
And then your next apartment was somewhere in Vršovice, no?
Then we moved to Vršovice, and that was good there.
It's a good neighborhood.
And now we're improving it, so we're slowly building. I don't know the next level. I live next door. I'm next door. I literally live next door to the ex prime minister of your country, man. So is that Mr. Babish?
Wow,
Mr.
that's funny.
Babish.
I had
I see him sunbathing in the garden sometimes.
I had a classmate, and his dad was the prime minister of Czech Republic a long time ago. For a period of time. It was like this official, what do you call it? Government, when you don't have elected government, but you have like a period when they need some government. Which was crazy because, he was going around with bodyguards and stuff. It was a funny thing to have in the high school.
Yeah, man, mad. But good, but also cool, man. Cool bragging rights, right?
Of course, for sure.
Do you know, I always say, Dan, like, I think I would be, I'm pretty successful with what I've done now. If I would have been brought up in a successful family, people always ask me, do you think I would be so successful? Or no, they tell me, oh, you would be really successful if you would have had like parents and, stability as a kid and been shown the way. And I always say, well, would I really? Because what really made me successful in the beginning is the hunger to be successful. If I already acquired it from my parents, would I have gone that extra mile past my comfort zone in order to become
when you can eat,
who I am today?
You don't get that hungry when you have for the food provided, right?
Yeah. Well, Dan, there's a difference between a lion in the zoo and a lion in the jungle, right?
Yes. I guess so. Yeah.
Yes.
And now you had the barber shop in Prague you still have it, right? I haven't been there in a while, so I hope so.
Sure.
I hope so.
I was there cutting hair today.
But yeah, I saw your announcement that you're retiring from barbering pretty much, and of the new adventure, the new journey. That now I can understand it. The new journey. I was like, where does it come from? All this entrepreneurship. So the next journey. What's the next journey going to be about?
Well, actually, the journey started about a year ago. So I've got a company who started in the UK, some digital marketing agency. It's called Hype Digital Marketing. And earlier in the year, I don't know if you remember, I went over to Miami to set an office up over there as well and do a few things with a friend. And then, and now, now I decided that we pulled in some big clients, and if anyone's listening and needs some social media marketing, get in touch with me. I'm ready to help you guys out. We are ready. We're ready to go full time. This really needs my attention. I've put myself in a position that it's the same with cutting hair and everything. What I do, certain clients only want me to deal with them. You understand that yourself, right? There's something unique with. I think that's carried over from the barber game, So the other business is what I do. Only certain clients, whether that be, real estate or my Airbnb companies or, holiday lets and all my other stuff, what I do. There's only certain people that want to deal with me because of who I am and how I do things. And, part of my problem that I have in life is trying to find someone to delegate a client to say, look, this guy is also great. Like I have Kyle in the barbershop now. Kyle started with me from nothing. He didn't even cut hair. I trained him to cut hair. And, now I'm trying to slowly over the last 6 months, 12 months, I've been trying to push my clients to say, hey, look, go to Kyle. He's really good. I trained him. He's really great, because otherwise, how many people can I cut hair? And you can only cut a certain amount of people every day. You can only deal with a certain amount of phone calls and emails and meetings. So you need to, part of success is being able to delegate and trust people around you and have a good team, and always give people a chance to make mistakes and learn from them. And just be kind, man. Be the boss, be vulnerable. I think if you we spoke about vulnerability earlier, be vulnerable. That allows people to see you're human and you're not what everybody thinks you are from the outside looking in. And just be fucking good to people, man. Take care. If you find someone who's fucking good, with a good heart, they're loyal, and you can trust them, treat them like family.
No, it makes sense, right? I think it's hard to find people with good hearts. That's a good quality. You need to take these people close to you because they make you a better person as well. And by the way, I think that I agreed with what you said that you need to delegate and things. But what I loved about it, and I didn't see it just this time when you wrote the email that you're gonna kind of retire from barbering, but I also during the COVID when you were writing emails to your community, and you have the quality that I really like, and I don't think that many people have it, and it's super important in business, but I think it's actually important in life. But in business, like a lot of people try to avoid it, and that's making difficult decisions. Because deciding that you're going to stop doing something that you like to dedicate it to somewhere else, it's not an easy decision, I think, for a lot of people. To kind of, people are good at starting things, but are not very good at saying what I'm going to stop doing so I have time to do it. And that kind of being forthcoming and making this tough decision, that's something that I admired.
Yeah.
That's why that email I was like, wow.
Whoa, I mean, look, to be honest, if I'm being 100% honest, I want me, Jay Adams, as a man, as a human, as a barber, as a businessman, I wanted to quit completely and say I'm never cutting hair again. But if I'm in Prague and I have time, and even if I don't have time, even if I can dedicate 1 day a month or 2 days a month to the client, what you have to remember, Dan, is that the position I'm in now, I didn't start in that position when I started the King of Kings barbershop. There was a time in the shop early in Czech Republic when I wasn't financially in a position that I'm in now. I didn't have commitments and obligations that I have now that bring me the lifestyle that I have. So for me, just to send out a message and say, hey, listen, I'm 100% quitting. Thanks for everything, but fuck you guys. I'm going to make huge amounts of money doing my other businesses. I just couldn't do that. That's not in me. And to be honest, it's pretty painful to go into the barbershop and cut hair. To go into the barbershop and cut hair, knowing that I don't really want to go in and cut hair for just anybody, like just for the general public, let's say. But there are customers who I've made a connection with who am really appreciative because they was with me in the beginning. People like yourself who seen my come up, have seen where I was and where, the development of my story of behind the barber chair, just even as a business, as a barbershop, So I felt that I needed to at least dedicate, when I'm in Prague, a couple of days to still be able to offer my services that people have been paying me for in the beginning, to show them that respect that, hey, look, I could quit this now and say, fuck you, but it ain't about that. Who I am as a person is I still want to give you my services. So I'm making myself available for you because I don't want to forget where I come from. If that makes sense.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. And I love that you are so forthcoming about it. That's what I liked about the messages. Even when there was a COVID, you were always forthcoming. You said like, this is what I'm doing. You might not like it. I thought about it. I think it's the best thing. This is who I am. I'm doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of people are trying to kind of, figure out how to smooth the things and like make it. And you are like really, here it is. And I think it's the best way. I worked for a company, a chemical company in the Netherlands. And at one point, the plant in US exploded. Really big thing, It's like, imagine chemical plant on plants.
Yeah.
And my boss with a couple of other people came up with like brilliant strategy, and they said, okay, we're gonna be saying as much as we can. They basically told people, listen, we don't know what's happening right now, but we're gonna give you more information in 2 days. And in 2 days, they send them, okay, this is what we now we don't know what the impact is gonna be on this and this. And we're going to tell you another time. And they were just really forthcoming about what's happening. And then I also went to customers and they said, maybe we won't have something, what can we do about it? And oftentimes, actually, the customers came up together with them with a solution because they also had a problem, while I have seen the opposite approach where something like that happened and people are like, no, everything is fine and it's going to be good, and then
Talking
that
shit.
just gets you. Yeah. And that never, I think, ends up well.
But that's what I was referring to earlier, bro, is that these shit houses doing that and making either one or both of them decisions as a company. You're just deceiving the people who are there making you the money in the business, right? So why not just be straight with it? Like going back to referring back to my granddad, how I got my, that's from him, that trait's from him. Like if there's something wrong, let's not sugarcoat it and let's not pretend that it's not there. Let's fucking deal with it straight on. And then we can say, right, this is the problem. What's the solution? Simple as that. And it's simple. It's so easy, if my missus don't look good, even like something simple like this, missus will come to me and say, does my ass look fat in this? And bruv, if her ass looks fat in the jeans, I'm telling her, listen, you got fat ass, baby. Yeah? You need to get in the gym. Then, or if I lie to her and go, nah, you know what, baby, looks all right. Then I've got the problem, right? Because then I've got to deal with a woman with a fat ass, right? Like, so why not just be straight? And then if I tell her she got a fat ass, go to the gym and fix your ass. And then we could. Or, if I ask her, not just my woman, I'm just saying that if she listens, like, she ain't got a fat ass, all right? So I don't want to get my balls chopped off or something. But you know what I mean? Like if I say, babe, do I look fat? Do you know what I mean? And I've been eating lately. I ain't been to the gym. If she says to me, nah, you look all right, babe, but then I've got love handles sticking over the side of my pants. It's not helping me. Do you know what I mean? I'd rather people be straight and just, if the whole world was straight, it would be a better place to live in. I'm telling you.
I agree to that. And we went full circle back to your grandfather.
Sure.
What do you think? Does your grandfather know about your journey? What do you think that? What do you think about who you became?
Do you know what, bro? I call him every week. Every week I give him a phone call wherever I am in the world, and just to check up on him because he loves that. Do you know what I mean? That little phone call. I think when you get old, you've done your whole life by yourself.
Yeah.
And you come into the end part of your life and you're like, I think he feels I've seen him be such a strong man. And then as he's got older, he's just got weaker, because he's not capable himself. Do you know what I mean? He used to lift engines out of a car. And if there was something that needs to be done, I'll do that. I'll fix that. I'll get that done. And now it's like, he has to call my little brother to come and fix a light in the house or something. Do you know what I mean? And that, if you're an old school man stuck in your old school mentality, that's hard for him to accept that. And he feels like that's weakened him. And then when my nan passed away, because she kept the house clean all the time, he's like, oh, I can't do it the same level that your nan does it. Or, when he used to love cooking and now I had to step in and get him these, people to go around the house and clean. I pay for him to have a cleaner and to get his shit sorted out now. Do you know what I mean? To have his meals delivered and all that sort of stuff. But yeah, I mean, I think he understands what I do, but bro, I don't need to I know he's proud of me. Do you know what I mean? I don't need to tell him how much money's in the bank and what I'm doing. I just need to tell him, I just need to phone him once a week, bruv. And he's just doing that. That I don't need to call him, and just call him once a week. And that's enough for him. Do you know what I mean? He don't care if I'm in Miami or London or in Timbuktu, mate. Do you know what I mean? He's just, thanks for calling me. I really appreciate it. I tell everyone that you're the only person that calls me. And, so I'm like, that's enough. I don't need to tell him, yeah, granddad, I've just been on a speedboat and went scuba diving and swimming with dolphins. And my 3-year-old son's I've just bought a 20 grand watch and I've got this and this car. I don't need to tell him all that because
he doesn't care.
He'll tell me I'm a fucking idiot. Do you know what I mean? For spending money on stupid stuff. He just needs, he's proud, bro. He's just proud, knowing I call him.
It's a nice, right? Because I think this is my perception, right?
It's real. It's real, bro.
When you were talking about your grandfather in the beginning, I kind of feel that you try to a little bit seek approval, right? Like bring a car, show him, hey, I'm doing well, and then actually all you need to do is just give him a call, spend some time, and that's what people,
Simple.
yeah, that's what people care about. Like the little moment I had in the barbershop, whatever, even if you would give me all the money in the world, like that moment would be something that I will remember a lot more and will mean so much more than anything else,
Yeah, man.
Okay. Well, so
Just one thing, bruv, on that, like just off the back of that, I forgot to tell you something earlier, what I do with my kids. Another thing with my kids, right? So if they want something from the shop, so this is talking about earning it and making memories. And like, so if you ask my son, what did I buy you 3 Christmases ago? He ain't got a clue what I bought for him on Christmas morning. But if you ask him, what did we do when Daddy came back from Australia and we drove up to London? He'll go, oh yeah, we went to the zoo and the monkey threw shit at the glass. Because that was like a memory, do you know what I mean? And what I try to do with my kids now is create memories. Yeah, we've just been to Thailand, and my son, all he talks about is that he fed a baby elephant on the side of the road. It wasn't in a zoo or nothing, bro. We was driving down the road in a cheap old car, and we just saw an elephant, and it said, pay 100 crowns for a box of bananas and you can get out and feed an elephant. Do you know what I mean? And it's just something so simple like that. Creating a little memory is more than that he went on a speedboat and we went on a helicopter and flew around Bangkok. Do you know what I mean? And what I do with my children, going back to what I was saying, is if ever my children want something and we're out shopping, we go into a supermarket and they want a computer game that costs 50 euros for the PlayStation, for example, all of my children know that they can pick that game up and put it in the trolley. But they also know that they will not receive that item until they've earned half of it back in jobs. So that item that costs 50 euros, I'll pay for it. It's not a problem. They know they can have whatever they want, but they know they've got to earn some of it back. So I always say, look, whatever you want, you can have, but you're going to pay me half of it in
half
effort.
of it. I get it. It's the half of it of the cigarettes that you get to your granddad.
There you go.
I'm listening.
There you go.
No, I like it. That makes sense. That's fair.
Sure. And they do that, cleaning the dinner table, cleaning their room, cleaning the car. They can earn little bits off of it. Do you know what I mean? And I think that's important to teach kids both lessons, that they can have what they want, but they also got to earn it. You know what I mean? So,
well, not just kids, everybody.
Not just kids. There's a lot of fucking adults that need to learn that too, right?
Okay, so we are approaching the time when in some time I'm gonna get kicked out of here probably, or like
we've been here for a long time.
I definitely enjoyed the conversation. I have one more question which I always ask. We will get to it, but before that, is there something else we haven't talked that we should still touch on?
Bro, there's a million things, but we don't. I'll get you kicked out of this room quicker than if we start now. We'll be here all night.
So that means the next episode somewhere in the future.
Okay, we can do that
because I'll be looking forward to that. And a question that I always ask, because this podcast is supposed to be kind of inspiration for people who feel lost or stuck in their life or they struggle. And I think inspiration is good, and it's important to tell the stories because stories are very powerful. And in the end, only you know how you want to live your life and what you want, right? But it's always important to take in actions, because if you don't take actions, nothing will ever change. That's also something that I think. And so what is a small step or a concrete action that I or anybody else who feel a bit lost or like their compass is broken can take in coming week?
Good question.
What would you recommend?
Good question. If you or anybody listening to this podcast feels that your inner compass is broken, you're lost, you're confused, you know there's something that you can do, but you don't know what direction to stand or what direction to go in, let's say, there's a few things. I can give you a couple. I can give you a list. So the first thing what you need to do is go to your bathroom or the nearest mirror and look directly at yourself and write down exactly what you see and where you see yourself going. Write down 5 things that you see positive and 5 things that you see negative about yourself. That's the first thing what you want to do. So then you can have clarity about yourself. You've got 10 things, you've got a list of 10 things that you can work on and get better, or you can work on and double down. So the good things you can double down. So if your arms are looking big because you've been in the gym, go into the gym again and get them twice as big. If your hair looks messed up, go to the barbers and get it fixed and feel better about yourself. You know, just pick out small things like that. Direction wise, like motivational things to do would be, bro, definitely I'm just going to leave it at that one thing, because it's self-awareness, because you can't do nothing in life without understanding. You can't make any moves without knowing who you truly are yourself, because if you set off on the wrong path with a false perception of who you are, then you're going to go down the wrong path and you'll end up back exactly where you started.
Yeah. And I love it. I especially love the part about going to the mirror and looking at yourself and writing what you see and what you want to see. Anyway, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do all the actions that people are suggesting to me. Because I think I have to, you know. I mean, I'm asking the question. So, you know, if I just ask it and I don't do it, then
big love,
that doesn't seem right. All right, Jay, if people want to get in touch or go for a haircut or
you know what?
For agency.
Let's not do business. Let's just say, you know what I'm ready to do, bruv? Yeah, just come to my if you are having trouble or anyone needs help, forget the money, forget the business, forget the haircuts, forget the social media marketing. If you are a man or a lady and you need help or some motivation or something, just to talk to somebody, Dan will tell you that I've been there for someone who I don't know or who I didn't know. And now I'm very happy that I've met Dan and we've had this conversation today. But just come to my Instagram and message me. And if I will be an ear a listening ear. I will listen to you. I will try and advise you. I'll try and help you in any way that I can. I don't want to make this about business, because the reason I'm here today is to support you, Dan. Do you know what I mean? So fuck my businesses. Fuck the barbershop, fuck everything else. It's been a pleasure to speak to you. You've changed my life in one aspect on the letter that you wrote me. You've been through a fucking hard time, and I feel like I've been through part of it together. I felt that was a turning point with you that I went through with you outside of the barbershop, and I was honored and I was and I'm so respectful that I was lucky enough to be the person to pull you out of that situation and to take that sidestep with you and to pull you back in the game. I'm honored to be able to have that position in your life, bro. So thank you, brother, for what you've done for me.
That was beautiful. Thanks. And just to add, if you're looking for Jay, you can find him at jadams.uk at Instagram, right?
No. So you can find me just on Instagram is jadams.uk. jadams.uk. Yeah, simple. And
we also put the links in the episode descriptions. If you enjoyed the episode or you have any feedback, you can also reach me on my Instagram at danik-pesera, or you can join our Discord community where you can share your stories, talk to other listeners, maybe some guests and me, and where you can find some support if you're going through some times when you don't know what. If you enjoyed the episode, please also don't forget to give us a review, because that will help spread these stories and they can help more people, and that would be tremendous. And with that, thank you, Jay, for having you here. It was true pleasure, and really I'm full of energy now. Thanks.
Not, bro. I thank you, bro. Thank you so much for having me.
And I will see you guys at the next episode next Tuesday. Thanks.